Yes. So, Rumanapal, চলে আসেন. Yes. Jayad bhai, please continue to show us some of the areas. Sorry. আসছে না? হ্যাঁ? And if you have any questions, park it. We'll discuss after Jayad bhai is done. Thank you.
Can I start? So for reboot generation of particular district or particular hazards, particularly particular district in that case, so you have to log in. So there is a Kaji bhai, there is a login section, so you can use my username, password, planner. You can use all your this small cap planner, PLANNER. Username planner, password planner. No, and capture. Yes. Login. So while you log in, you'll see your username, and also you'll see this option, the report viewer. Are you there? Yes. While you log in, you'll see your username here. Hello. And also you'll see this option, the report viewer. So under this report viewer, that's called development and appraisal tool. While you click on that, you'll see this format. Select district. You can select any district. Suppose Barguna district. Project name. You can write down the project name. Jamal, can you just write something? Yeah, Nexus project. And then sector, this means it's a planning commission sectors. There are 6 divisions and 14 sectors. So all the development projects are reviewed and approved by certain sectors. So these agencies and it actually depends on the types of the project, which sector it will belong to. So they will write down their sector's name. There's a sector system agriculture division. And description of the projects, you can write at least the objective or the aim of that project. That will help to understand what is about that. I think that's enough.
So what are the other sectors? Agriculture.
So there are actually 14 sectors under 6 divisions. So one is the water resource sectors, the rural institution sectors. So there is another division called, there are 6 divisions in the planning commission. One is the programming division. This is manage the development budget. They actually approve and what the other works they do for development projects. And there is the agriculture division. So there are certain ministries, agriculture, water resource and rural institutions. So so far as I know, Ministry of Disaster Management, it is under this agriculture, water resource and rural institution division. There is the physical infrastructure division, the LGE particularly under that division. Another is the it's called industrial energy division. This is the minerals, water resources, energy resources. They are under that division. Okay, it could be English or Bangla. You can choose what you like. And there are, I think, 14 headers. You can select, let's see, but it shows all the headers. If you know your district is which headers will be most affected by that district, you can select that particular headers, or you can select all to see how does it look like. Generate report. Report is generated. You can save it or print it. You can save as a PDF or also print it. And this will be the report. So division Borishal, district Borguna, project came access. It is showing the location. This is the Borguna. And when you go down, you'll see summary to disaster risk information, flash flood. It calculated the risk level. It said the flash flood is the very low. So hazard level very low, exposure level very low, vulnerability level is medium. So risk level is the very low using that particular risk assessment equation. And for the cyclone is the very high. Hazard level is very high, exposure level low, vulnerability level low, so risk level is very high. So particularly it depends on single risk component. It depends on all these three components: hazard, vulnerability, and exposure. And for the CORI, it's for particular agriculture sector. Agriculture, who are using agriculture process, it will be very much suited for that. And this is the earthquake, very low. This is the flood, low. And this is the landslide, very low. The storm surge, high. So if the project is implemented in that area, they have to address that measures. They have to address that storm surge. When you going to construct particular infrastructure, they have to identify what will be their plinth level. They have to calculate that one. And the erosion is very high erosion. So which area it will be located? Close to river or the far away from the river? So there are certain guidelines in the Bangladesh National Building Codes. Which area will be located? This particularly, if this is the river erosion prone area, which area will be particularly best place for that particular project? This is this infrastructure. Salinity is high. Disaster risk level is medium. Just for your information. So there are some ministries, there are some particular government agencies. They are already actually changing their design parameters. So for example, the LGD, Bangladesh Public Works Department, and Roads and Highways Division, they are changing parameters, particularly road design parameters, particular roads, infrastructure buildings, and other construction related issues, considering the climate change. Salinity, sea level rise is medium. So these are all the information here. What will be the risk level of that area? And then sensitivity curve, which area is the most sensitive to that particular disaster. After that, they will generate some guiding questions for particular disaster. These guiding questions actually generated using that 6 steps of trick. So it's more easiest way, more concrete answer, how to write the more concrete answer, assessment of resilience. So how they will write the service continuity plan, or the contingency plan issues, or the assessment of preparedness, particularly these issues. One question is, what possible measures? There's a step 3, countermeasures. Yeah? What possible measures can reduce the disaster risk? What would be the expected performance and maintenance of the project impaired by the selected target? Possible DRR measures with optimum cost and but maximum benefit. Thus, I think for this one, the popular example would be, Cox's Marine Drive. So while we are piloting this one, this GI entry with the Water Development Board, they're saying that so now they're spending more for the maintenance of the Cox's Marine Drive than they actually cost for this construction. Because they didn't consider the erosion issues while they designed that Marine Drive. And another information is last year, Department of Primary Education, they lost, almost 100 school buildings into the river. So it's not about actually the infrastructure, it's also services. If there is a school, so there will be no education. There is some other alternative plans. So actually section 5, assessment of resilience, they are saying if there is no building, there is no construction, what will be the alternative mode of operating that services, particularly the service continuity plan. How are you going to service? How are you going to provide service during the disaster, immediate after the disaster? And then historical information and government directives, policy planning, regulatory, particular areas. So there are some particular areas, the government has the lagging regions. There are some specific government policy guidelines for particular region. What will be the building parameters that they located in the coastal district or in the northern district. So there is a government rule, government policies like that. Infrastructure to be constructed in the coastal areas could be multi-purpose. It's not only the single purpose of the school or education. It will be multi-purpose for the cycle shelter. It could be some other buildings. So 2-3 service organizations can come under one building. So there is a certain policy government. So this is for, this one is for the cluster, this one is for the cyclone. So after that, there are some indications of the potential countermeasures. It's not an exhaustive list. It's just an indication. You can think of such kind of measures. You can think of such kind of countermeasures for addressing cyclone for different sectors. Utility facilities, agricultural lands, food and drinking water, infrastructure vulnerability. So you can also address, you can also consider locally available countermeasures, or you can use local knowledge to address that particular hazard, particular disaster risk. So we hope that in future list will be quite long. So they will add more hazards, we will review the TPPs and add more countermeasures in that list. And here is the tentative cost. Is the step 5, TRR cost. So it will have the decision makers whether they are going to approve that project to implement it in particular areas. If this is in the erosion prone areas, so what are the countermeasures taken by them? All the particular certain kinds of building will be constructed in the chore areas. If they construct a big building more than 50 crore taka, so if there is a flood level is high and the plane is always going underwater, so it will not provide necessary services. But if it is going into the river, then whole buildings, whole government investment will be into the water. So how to provide that? How to construct? They will government have to provide services. How to provide? This could be something modular buildings or some kind of buildings that will be some kind of infrastructure that will be detached and put in a separate place for providing gas services in shoreline areas or any other erosion prone areas. These are all the countermeasures listed here for different hazards. And also some relevant information survey. Different government policies and regulations, government directives. These are here. If they need any support from the particular policy and regulations, they can easily add it from here. So this is the risk report. So when you generate this risk report, it will be as an annex in that particular development project report. They will extract all the relevant information from here, and as I shown you earlier, so there will be part certain table. So it will have this table. So they will extract the information from here and put it there. They can easily, decision makers or approval committee or some of the review committee, they can easily see what are the hazards, what are the potential impact of that hazards, what are the countermeasures, and what is the total cost. So they can make decision based on that information. If they need to go into further, they can go into that report from the annex. And after that, there is a glossary. So definitions, all the relevant information, definitions are here to understand what does it mean, use what is the definition used in there, and more often relevant important documents in here. Government is not updated yet, but since a few days back that's published, there is no updated information on that as well. Government data plans, cyclone preparedness, all this information, government related, MODM related policy plans are uploaded here. 85 plans, disaster plans, perspective plans, all are here. So they can easily get access to all this. They need to go any other websites to get all this information. And also user guidelines. You can use this user guidelines. User guidelines for DRIP. This is English and Bangla. You can use this one. If you think it's getting difficult to understand, you can use this one, English or Bangla. User guidelines. It's very easy, handy. You can access it and take it. Click to this DRIP. And feedback options, we are working on that. So it requires a certain email from, IP from the Planning Commission. So we are in the process of that to get an email from the Planning Commission corporate meeting. So the government process is quite bureaucratic. Need to send lots of letters. So it's under process. When we get that, it will be here. It will be here. So that's I think DI and DRIP. I think it's an important tool. Could be an important tool to facilitate whole of government approach. Since all the ministries, all the government agencies, they implement development projects. So they will easily available all this information, disaster related information, climate change related information from here. They can get the information from here and integrate or mainstream those information, use that information to plan their development projects. That's how all the government agencies are integrated in one another. I think there are lots of opportunities for further improvement. Government is very interested. So far I have seen the planning commission, all the divisions and planning commissions are very interested to use the drip and also application of drip in different projects. There are some committee called the PSC Project Steering Committee. Almost all the planning commission officials, they are somehow member, more than 1 or 2 project steering committees, project steering committee members. So we are providing training them how to integrate the drip issues while they will review the project, while they will sit in the committee meeting, they will raise this issue. How do they address the disaster risk? Whether they use drip or some different way, but we are emphasizing on drip, how to use drip, to use disaster risk information on these development projects. Already we are working on it, on several projects we are using this information. It is in the planning, it is already in the planning policies. So government will continue it. And my last, there are lots of opportunities for further improvement. And lots of agencies are showing interest to improve it. I think government will take it and improve it. And I think we will get it at Upajala level, even in union level, risk assessment maps. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jahid Bhai. Wonderful presentation. Any questions? I have a question, but yeah, you can start, please.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I just have remarks that we've worked previously on these digitized tools and many things and piloted many things at the field level with the government. The hardest part of digitizing a government is having their buy-in and having them on board, and NRP has done that, so I'd like to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
That's a huge task. I know all the bloods and sweats went behind it, and maybe we can work more. It's all work in progress, so we can work more on developing the tools, making people understand, because I know there are a lot of technical nitty-gritty. I was part of it, so I understand. Maybe other people don't directly. The more they get involved, they get to know more. But yeah, I think the hardest part is done. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We'll go to the next presentation, so we have 2-3 minutes if you have any remarks, anything. Rajiv, you want to introduce yourself because you're... Sorry.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Hasibul Bari Rajiv. I'm representing here IFRC and also Shutter Cluster.
Any question, comments, remarks? Oh, yes.
Thank you, Jahid Bhai, for a nice presentation, and really happy to see that long-standing advocacy of humanitarian people is now a reality here, that we are doing DIA before, especially for public investment. Is there any plan or any discussion at the Ministry of Planning that in future this DRIP or DIA template or framework we will narrow down to the small scale investments, and as well as the information or database you have already developed can be used by the humanitarian work or actors?
Okay, thank you for your question. I think as I said, there are lots of opportunities for further improvement. I think if certain forms of request is sent to the Planning Commission, I think it will be good, and I think they'll be happy to work on that.
So Jahid, just to compliment us, so this is a question I also have. So whatever report we are coming up with, this is not the evaluation criteria of the project, but government will use it when they evaluate projects. But can the humanitarian community access the report? We are getting here from planner, but can they access it when you develop the projects?
But it is still under process. We are working on it, because government process is a bit tricky. We can just help them, but I'll definitely let know my PD, see your concerns, and that you are interested to use this one, and how they can provide necessary support or necessary username or any other ways to use by the humanitarian.
Because I love the questions that it generates automatically. So anyone developing the projects, they can already respond to the questions in their project documents.
Yeah,
And it becomes really
yeah,
comprehensive.
yeah. I'll definitely let know. The client.
Kazi bhai, question? Last one, then we'll go to the
Thank you. Thank you for nice presentation and having very important tools for Bangladesh. One question is basically this is a little bit static because of we are not saying something that the update is basically on when the disaster hit. That means that the update will be later. So there is a humanitarian community is a clearly need for assessment and other thing. So there is a vibe there that the humanitarian community doing need assessment, everything is in the DIA and other thing. That need to be very clear that when something hit to the Bangladesh, then the assessment process need to be continued.
Yeah. So I said we are working on it. I think at the vulnerability level. So we need to work on. So data is we do agree that there are some limitations in the vulnerability assessment. We should focus on that. Our planning commission, particularly programming division, they are also interested to include more vulnerability indicators into that one, so that it's more reliable and more information provided to the meet the needs of different communities and from different perspectives. Thank you. If you have if you need any information, if you want to work on that, please drop me a line. I'll be happy to respond.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jayant bhai. Big round of applause for Jayant bhai. This is a brilliant one. So we'll go to the next one. I think Andrew Spizoka, he's with us, Program Management Officer UNDRR. He's with us on Zoom. So he will present the global platform, how they are working on how member states can benefit from the whole thing. So over to you, Andrew, if you can hear me.
বলে আমরা যদি লোকাল ভলান্টিয়ার লোকাল এনজিও না করতো তাহলে আমাদের হিউম্যানিটেরিয়ান রেসপন্স এই টোটালটা তাদের উপর ডিপেন্ড করছে সাইক্লোন ওই ফ্লেক্সিবিলিটি রিসোর্স দেওয়া তাদের এম্পাওয়ার করা এক্সাক্টলি এনজিও প্লাস ভলান্টিয়ার এনজিওর সাথে কিন্তু ভলান্টিয়াররা অনেক বেশি ওই দিক থেকে অনেক কিছু করতে আসছে আমাদের এখানে সাথে আমি বিশেষ করে they should be more empowered like this issue should not be something problem একদম শেষে বলি প্রথমেই তাদের এম্পাওয়ার করে তারা ছাড়া না
আমার আশা সমিতি আছে আশা সমিতি
জিনিস দেখেন জয়েন্ট নিডস অ্যাসেসমেন্টে আমি জানি না যে রিপোর্টটা আবার তাদের কাছে ব্যাক করে কিনা যে তাদের কোনো ফিডব্যাক আছে এটা আপনি দিবেন আমি দিব
So I see one table is done. So okay, done. Can we finish or we should give you another minute? Okay, one more minute, please.
বলবে যে এত বড় বড় কথা বলবে আবার সে বলে দিয়ে
We can start. This is the first group who have completed, so, yeah. Explain in 1 minute why do you think that word represents the humanitarian response culture in Bangladesh?
এরিয়া আছে এরিয়া ভিত্তিক পার্টনার আমরা তো আগেই টার্গেট জানি ওই জায়গায় বলতে হবে
Can I start, please? So we discussed, in 2-3 words, we say, Inshallah, it will come soon. Inshallah, it comes soon. It will come soon. Why do we say so? Because the aid which is provided is small. It's insufficient, like some kilos of rice, money is not covering. And then humanitarian community, when we do our GNA and then we do our response plan, mobilize funds, we provide, it's a bit already delayed, right? Not a little bit, but it's delayed. So therefore we combine this in our discussion and then we come up with this.
This is the sentence. This is not what, one or two words.
Coming soon.
It's actually inshallah. So you know. Okay, thank you. This group.
Tell us the word or two words.
This is the risk group because food, cash, and also WFP emergency, along with GBP clusters. So protection. So actually, our group decided to say 2 words actually. Passionate, reactive. If you want to explain me, then I'll explain, but otherwise not. Passionate, reactive. Can I explain or?
Yes.
No. So why this? We do something always after. Some of the organizations doing before as anticipatory action or workers-based financing, but most of our humanitarian actions after. আমরা বাংলায় বলি না ডাক্তার আসিবার পূর্বেই রোগী মারা গেল, এরকম একটা ঘটনা। তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমরা মনে করি যে passionate, reactive. So ঘটনা ঘটে গেলে once something happen, we'll do something for the people.
Thank you. Next, which group wants to go? This one? Okay, we go from back. Okay, sure.
Okay, very close to with the Atul Bhai's group. What we have been discussing is that the word is transformation.
Transformation or transformative?
Transformation. It's if I explain, it's what we have been doing last 5 to 6 years. That was the much coordinated way emergency response or actions. Now it is we are in a stage to go to the anticipated or forecast based, whatever we say. It is kind of
So, if I can understand correctly, you wanted to say that we are going through a transformation.
Yes.
On the humanitarian response side. Okay. Next group, please, Jafar.
Thank you.
This one.
All X not.
Hello. Actually, we came up with 2 words. One is platforms and second is ideas. And this actually came from the thing like currently maybe we are going through lots of platforms and lots of new ideas. And maybe there are some things, some areas where we are working really hard to maintain a close coordination or an effective coordination. So that's why we are coming up with these 2 words, platforms and ideas.
So we are
So
Is this an aspiration or is this something we're doing now?
that is something we're doing now.
Okay.
Actually, lots of platforms out there, lots of ideas out there, while we are working with humanitarian responses in overall Bangladesh.
But do you think those are scattered?
To some extent, those are scattered. So we all came up with these things.
Okay, thank you. Next group, this group.
Who wants to go first?
This group.
Nurunda.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we discussed few points. So the word, two words we can say, that is the centralized response. So why? So still we see the decision making approach is top down. It is not a bottom up approach in the humanitarian sector. Most of the planning, most of the resource allocation or partner selection, everything is going from central level, or even the concept perception. And the second thing we discussed, that is the partnership. That means still whenever we want to go for any response, we go for prioritization where we have our partner, we have the accessibility. So that decision also go sometimes top down approach. And another thing we discussed, maybe it is also relevant, that is still the community or the volunteers, they are the first responder. So they go for the response, but that is very minimum level, but the major resources come from central level. Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. And the final group.
In our group, we actually discussed in a bit different ways. And when we are talking about the culture, so we are considering that how the people and the community are perceiving the whole humanitarian response system. So in this house, we are talking about lots of tools and the platforms and the network and the preparedness. So that is from the service provider's point of view, but from the receiving point of view, we are talking about the right-based approach, how the community are reactive or make their reaction. So there's two examples. So we are prepared. So we are focusing on the people, the how first or the how the speed of our response mechanism and our capacity and our skill and communication. But on the other side, the awareness within the community. So it's not community who are the vulnerable to different things. The community, like the media, still the media showing. If you look at the last week from the newspaper, how the government is providing the rationing food or something like that, we are portraying only the vulnerable faces, different vulnerable faces. So still the community, we are talking about the standard, but how this community, like the media and the other, how they are actually portraying this standard in their works. Even we can get the example from the private sector, still focusing on the food. So
what are the words?
It's the people and the awareness.
People and awareness. Okay. So it's very interesting. If you see the words, it's not only the culture, the aspirations are also there. So the current state, yes, inshallah, I liked it because it's always, we use it and we do that all the time. And in humanitarian response, probably this is more true than many other areas in Bangladesh. Definitely this group is passionate, no doubt. But that also connects with, the reactive part also connects with the inshallah part. So it has this connection. And it came everywhere. If you see, there are a lot of platforms, there are transformation going on, there are lots of ideas, but the coordination needs to happen, things needs to be data driven. So kind of what I wanted to, and the response is centralized. So if you see the words, you will see a pattern where you need to go. And I think you know much better than me. And we are trying to go there through this discussion in this workshop. And hopefully by the end of the workshop, we'll have a plan so that we can change this culture and go for the aspirations that we wanted to achieve. Thank you so much. Jafar Bhai, over to you. So now we have another session which is about the Inform Risk Matrix, Risk Index. This will be done by Jafar Iqbal. Yeah. National Risk Officer, UNDRR. You can come up front because the presentation I don't think you'll be able to see from backside. So anyone wants to use this table, please use this. You're most welcome.
5 মিনিটের ব্রেকের একটু
সামনে চলে আসেন সামনে
হ্যালো
সামনে চলে আসেন সামনে পিছনের লোকজন রনি ভাই সামনে আসতে হবে রনি ভাইকে সামনে আসতে হবে না না এখানে এখানে
বেশি ভালো
সামনে আসেন
রনি ভাই different aspects of different platform. We will now go through the risk index. So in Bangladesh we have started the localizing the global risk info methodology and plan to come up with a localized risk index for district and upazila. So in our endeavor, we have been supported by UNDRR, or in Bangladesh also we are working with the government, and Nirapad is working as a technical member. So at first I will, as a part of the methodology or as a part of the background context, I will take you through a video.
It's a new way to measure the inform.
So this video mainly focus on a very short description of the inform. So let's go through the video, then we'll go to the presentation.
Inform stands for Index for Risk Management. It's a new way to measure the risk of humanitarian crises and disasters. Inform can help identify where and why a crisis might occur, which means we can reduce the risks, build people's resilience, and better prepare for when crises do happen. Inform is global. It covers 191 countries. It's open. The data and methodology are freely available. And it's reliable. It's based on the best methods and data and is regularly updated. Inform creates a risk profile for every country. Each has a rating between 0 and 10 for risk and all of its components, so it's easy to compare. You can prioritize countries by risk or any of its component parts. You can decide how best to reduce risk and monitor risk trends. Inform can be adapted for your organization or region, and the same methodology can be used for national and regional risk assessment. Inform simplifies a lot of information about risk. It uses 50 different indicators to measure hazards and people's exposure to them, including all the main types of natural and human hazards, vulnerability, and the resources available to help people cope. And because Inform is open source, the more organizations that use it, the more coordinated and effective we will be at reducing suffering, increasing resilience, and contributing to sustainable development. Think about how your organization could use Inform.
So this is a brief overview on how Global Inform is designed and how that can be utilized. But for our purpose, we will also go through step by step. And here is mainly the pointed out what the video actually told us. That's the mainly those points is being out listed here. So I would like to give you the message that this is not a assessment, it's a indexing of risk which allow us to compare among the different administrative unit, and this comparison can be on the basis of the risk, it also can be done on the basis of the hazard, or it also can be done only one indicator. Like if you want to do only the sectoral, that's also this Inform also allow us to do that. That's the
basic overview, and this has been globally. This has been hosted and operated by JRC, Joint Research Council Center of the European Commission, and mainly this has been incorporated based on the different literature, which is has been approved globally, and likely all of the platform we have seen, it's also used the same dimension of the hazard for risks, hazard and exposure, vulnerability, and lack of coping capacity. And it's started in 2012, and it's still operationalized, and as I mentioned, that it's open source and it's well accepted. And most of the agencies we are present here, they are already global. At the global level, they are partnered from the global info. If we want to see that, there are two different types of partners or groups. So these are the inform steering group at the global level, and these are the inform partners. So steering group mainly decides how the methodology will work, how this will be developed, and partners is supporting in different ways by providing information or providing resource, financial issue. That's how it works at the global level. So, and as I mentioned, it started in 2012 and still it operationalized. So till now, there are 62 versions has been released globally, which has identified different risk level or risk indexes for 191 countries. So we can compare among countries with the global methods, global informed products. So for example, if you go, these are the dashboard of the global inform. So if you can go for Bangladesh, this will allow us to take to Bangladesh, and then we can see what are the indexing for Bangladesh, and we also can see the rank among the global countries, as Bangladesh is ranked 27, and also the hazard and exposure, the rank and value. For vulnerability, you can see rank and value. So, and then also lack of coping capacity. So these are the dimensions which has been incorporated and indexed. And also you can see trends for Bangladesh. So from 2012, how we have improved ourselves, where we are now standing in terms of risk, in terms of exposure, in terms of vulnerability, we can see that too. And also we can see our global peers who is similar risk, who is at the similar risk of our likely to our country. That's the information is here, and eventually you can download the Excel file and other things. So for Bangladesh, what we will get? For Bangladesh, we have with the successful piloting of the 27 upazalas by Nixas Group, we have with the support from UNDRR, we have planned for 64 district level informing risk indexing and 553 upazala level risk indexing. So for each district and for each upazala, we will get that types of value and ranking, and also we can we will able to compare among this different administrative units. How we are doing it? We are not inventing anything. It's same thing. What is in the global platform, what is in the global methodology, as they mentioned, the methodology is freely available, and that methodology is still there from the website. You can download it, you can see the videos, you can see the group words, everything is there. You can see the direction of the formula. So we are also using the same thing, and these are the methods that's dictated to get a risk indexing and enable us putting all indicator from 0 to 10. So as we saw in the video, 0 means better, so no risk. The dream life, a dream country or dream upazala, and 10 means worst. So this is the global methodology. So when we started it, we also synced our work, the localized work, to the global methodology, and eventually found that for Bangladesh, we have these indicators, not the indicator, these components specific data, but we don't have, or we have no data that's really segregated at the district or upazala level. For here you can see conflict, current conflict scenario, and projected conflict risk. So we don't have that one. Also, we don't have the district and upazala level inequality and dependency.
So, but eventually with this, okay, eventually with the hazard, we also have two more hazard here, salinity and lifeline. And we also thinking about development migration, we already incorporated, but that was so localized. But we have three more hazard. But in terms of human-centered hazard, we have some data at the global level, the national level data. But if you want to see that there is a district level or local level, we didn't find that one. So you can see the tick marks is our data, our indicators for which under for each component there are a number of indicators. We have shared these indicators with the cluster colleagues and through different platform, but we'll eventually share it again. So how these indicators has been calculated and other issues has been incorporated, we will go and see step by step. It's not. No, we don't have that one. The cross one is referring that we don't have that one. Okay. So how many indicators we have? So as you saw that there are a number of three dimensions. Under each dimension, we have collected and listed and collated 14 indicators for. So I made everyone's life easier, my life is gone. Okay, so 14 indicators for hazard and exposure, 25 indicators for vulnerability, and 19 indicators for coping capacity, or namely lack of coping capacity for inform index. So these are the indicators we have collected the data at district and exposure level, and that data has been quality is not collected, is collated from different government sources. That data has been, I would say that data in context, that data has been utilized for developing the risk index as per the information. But how we have developed that one? So at first we have developed the different processes. I would firstly highlight on how this development process has been communicated, directed and guided. So firstly, Humidity and Coordination Task Team has initiated the collaboration with the JRC, the European Commission, and the government and cluster working groups. I would say support from India initiate the ideas, and then that has been discussed, and you already received your different feedbacks from inter-cluster group and on the sectoral key indicators. But I would like to highlight the technical expert group led by MODMR. So all of this work, methodology and indicators has been discussed through a technical expert group. That expert group has been led by MODMR, and 13 government sectoral ministries participating, providing their expert opinion, providing us, guiding us, like we could say guiding the nationalized or localized inform index from starting to end. So we are discussing with them, we are presenting with them, and then we are taking their suggestions and feedbacks. That's how it's being operationalized. And in Nepal, there's a local national member. The network of the Nepal is also supporting us and the technical partner, and also the operational support is being provided by Nepal. And now I come to the I would say calculation process or calculation methodology. So as I mentioned, we have followed the same process. So on the basis of 15 hazard exposure indicator we have mentioned, we have come up with an index for hazard and exposure. So we will have a different map for hazard and exposure. Then we have on the basis of 25 indicator of vulnerability, we have come up with a vulnerability index, which has been shown in a map. And then on the basis of 19 coping capacity, we have come up with a composite coping capacity, lack of coping capacity map of all districts. And finally, by converging all these three, we have come up with a informed risk index for district. So, but here I want to give you a, I would say, disclaimer. This is a very fast job. So we used all the data we have received, and that has been incorporated here only to
come up with a very fast draft that will be discussed in different platforms, like this platform. In technical expert group will review that work. And similarly for
there is two color there, not the only red.
Yeah.
The dark color in the upper hand, but the PowerPoint and
okay.
Jafar bhai, very quickly. So you have collected information from Upazila level?
For all government sources data.
Okay, another thing is you mentioned you covered 553 Upazilas.
Upazilas.
Now, with confusion because we don't have that much of Upazila number.
To the information, we have lots of Upazila information. We have 62 indicators. I would say
No, no,
109
numbers of Upazila.
Number of Upazila is 495.
553. Okay.
553.
That's the next question. We'll come to the next. Okay, so similarly for the Upazila, we have done the same process. We have collected all indicators, and then we have come up with this Upazila level risk index. So we will also have the Excel file, and with all values there. We will share it with you for your feedback and review. And also we have planned to share this draft result with our technical expert group where we have found some glitches. You can say that hazard exposure data. So flood exposure data. So we will review those issues, but this is the very first draft. We can say it has been developed last week. So it's all there to be reviewed, but we would like to take this platform as an opportunity to take your feedback and review. So before going to the review, next one.
Ramanappa, your dream has come true. You see the index over the
Okay, next. So with our very first draft, we have tried to saw how we are really, how the result is really showing in comparison to poverty mapping and other things. So as we are repeatedly discussing, there is poverty mapping and there is other few mappings, but this can be a validation point. So we are, you can say we are trying to show that's how it's resemble or ensemble with this existing products, and we found that more than 80% cases it has resembled the actual scenarios which has indexed or have throughout the distant informed process. The next. Okay. So how the informed risk index will be reported? As we didn't have planned any platform, we don't have any idea or also proposal for platform. But how it will be reported? It will be mainly index-based map. So 3-dimensional specific index-based map. And you can get the indicator metadata, 3-dimensional specific indexing sheet, indexing of this sheet with calculation and then, and indicator data sheet. So you will not only the indexing, you will get each indicator specific data from each Upazila. So it will be one click away from you. And indicator source sheets. So not only the data, you will, all the sources of this data will be there and it can be downloaded one shot from all Upazila. So it will be on the platform, but where it will be next. So this is our platform. This is the global informed risk index platform, informed platform, where already 13 countries has been conducted the localized risk informed index, and our country's name will be added here, and all the result and everything will be shared on the global platform on the JRC. So that's at least we can ensure the sustainability of the platform. So it's run by the European Commission. And then next, how we will report at the national level, how it will be visualized